And have your attention here in the Media Center. We are now joined by NASCAR Hall of Famer and Hendrick Motorsports Vice Chairman Jeff Gordon with the number 5 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet. Jeff, congratulations on the victory today. That 5 car, and Kyle had speed all day, but also a lot of resilience. Walk us through the race from your perspective.
Yeah, I don't know where to begin. It certainly looked like, they were the class of the field at one point, and then, it looked like Bell was, and, then Keselowski came in there. I mean, it was a great battle, great race, really. And, I thought it sounded to me like Kyle was loose at the beginning, so I think they made one pretty major adjustment. They lost a little track position there, but it was in an effort to tighten the car up, and it definitely did. It's just they probably lost a little more track position than they would have liked. So just trying to watch them get that back, and the restarts were intense, and then that time when Kyle got loose off of 2, I mean, you could just tell he's working really hard. Sometimes you don't know how hard these guys are working, how on edge these cars are, until something like that happens and reminds you just how hard they're pushing. But great job to him to keep it out of the wall and keep them in the race. I thought that might be the end of their day, and I didn't know what the damage was on the right rear. Usually, even that slight damage has an effect on the performance, but it seemed like their car was bounced right back. And then, it was a total team effort because of that last pit stop. I thought that was a great stop to get them out front. Of course, still had to battle it out on those restarts, but it was good. My gosh, what a nail biter on those last few laps. I was sweating that one there. You saw Bell really working that outside lane and making some great momentum off the corner, and just didn't seem like there was a whole lot Kyle could do other than just stick to his line, and then they made contact. So wasn't even sure when they were coming to the line if it was going to work out that way, but it did. So it was a great day, and great to capture this win, get them to Phoenix for the championship. That's huge for us at Hendrick. Still more work to do. Got to get the 24 in there. Rough day for Chase on the owners, so we got some work to do there too over the next couple weeks.
Okay, we'll open the floor for questions. We're going to start here with Jeff, and we'll go to Justin.
I tried to answer as many of your questions right there in my opening statement. No kidding. You tell me. I saw they were up, and they looked strong to start, and then what happened? I don't know. Listen, there may be some Cleveland Brown fans in here, so I'm not going to disrespect anybody.
Jeff, Kyle, all this week won a sprint car championship, did Indy 500 testing, and now wins a key NASCAR playoff race. Is there any way to put in perspective what this guy is doing with the broader motorsports landscape?
Yeah, how do you win your own championship? That was my question. It's certainly a great week. I was up there with him in Indy, and just like kind of childhood dreams for me, him, his dad, Rick Hendrick. Being up there at Indy was so special. And I felt like all of our teams had confidence coming into this race. I think that, with the win earlier in the year, I think this track's been pretty good to us in the fall, the last couple of years as far as speed. So there's a lot of confidence by everybody coming into this weekend. And, other than the unfortunate failure by the 9, I thought the cars, all continued to show speed, throughout the day. But, the conditions, the heat of the track and just, tires and wear and all those things, track position it was challenging. It was a tough day. So, to see them overcome the adversity and some of the challenges and be able to get it into victory lane and it be such a great race right down to the wire. That's what you want to see in this round of the playoffs going to the championship.
We'll go Justin, then Jerry, then Jonathan.
Justin Schuler, Kicking the Tires. Jeff, you're talking about the resilience of Kyle Larson, but what about the rest of the team? Because obviously you had the tire issues on Saturday and then more tire issues plaguing other people today. So from your perspective, what's going through your mind with the constant tire issues just being nonstop? And then especially in that third stage, the runs are longer. So is that starting to be a concern, seeing Bell close in and having that slight concern? Is it going to push too hard and have a tire issue there and have that be detrimental?
Yeah, I think our guys, from everything I was talking to them about, they were pretty conservative, I thought, today. And Goodyear kept giving reports back to them that all of our tires that they were looking at, I don't know if they were cutting tires apart, looking at the inside shoulder, but they kept coming back saying they look good. So, I don't think that was too much of a worry, but of course, you'd never know. You might get one tire that just reacts a little bit different, or maybe they push really hard, on a restart. I felt like after the first run, the first run was the one that seemed to make everybody the most nervous because the speeds were fast, and Larson was out front and, pushing it. So I was a little bit nervous about that. But there at the end, felt pretty good about it, but you never know. I've learned, not just being a driver, but especially in this position when I have no control over it, that you just don't get your hopes up or get, your mind going there till that car crosses the checkered flag. And so, it was just great to see him do that at the end.
Jerry Jordan, kickingthetires.net. I'm going to make it a little controversial here. So how good is Kyle Larson, and is he a better driver than you are?
Yes. I'm glad I didn't have to race. I got my butt kicked by one guy at Hendrick Motorsports as my teammate. I didn't need to have two of them. So, you take a guy like Kyle and his capabilities and his talent, and he's impressed me with his work ethic too. I wasn't sure how he approached the Cup Series and especially with Cliff and all the data and all the homework that Cliff gives them, and the meetings that they have. Cliff's an intense guy and he brings a lot to the table, so that's a lot of information that you have to absorb. But he's stepped up to the plate and has done everything that the organization could possibly ask out of him and then some. And it's been a great relationship. And this year it's just all about getting the car and the team and everything to align. They've kind of been up and down, this year, made some mistakes earlier in the year, but it seems like in the playoffs, I feel like, they've just been bringing fast race cars and stepping up to the plate. I mean, Texas was tough, right, because he was in such a good place, and that battle, he and Bubba, and the result of that, and then, what happened in the Roval, you're like, oh gosh, is this going to be a repeat of the year before? But, I knew when they got through the Roval, this round was going to be extremely good for them. They run good, really at all three of these tracks, but especially this one in Homestead.
We're going to go to the Jonathan, then the Zach, then the Jim, then the Cole.
Jonathan Field, the racing experts, ESPN Radio Albuquerque. Looking through the years being at Hendrick Motorsports, internally, what do you believe Kyle Larson has, brought to the team that, I guess, makes it different from previous years?
Well, I think, anybody that's bringing a high level of talent and aggressiveness and speed to match up with the people that are building the cars and the people that, it's about having confidence in one another. And I'll remember the first time I met with Cliff Daniels and told him, who we were looking to be his new driver. And you saw, he lit up. He was excited about that. And so there's certain drivers that bring that, not a lot of them, but the ones that do instantly elevate up the team. And then, like I said, but you got to follow that up with, you got to work hard at it too. And he's doing both of those things. So it's a good combination.
Zach Sterniolo, NASCAR.com. Jeff, you mentioned earlier how huge this is to get Kyle to the championship for locked in today. Exactly how pivotal is it? Hendrick Motorsports obviously strives to bring championship caliber equipment to the racetrack every week, but what does this allow Cliff and the entire number 5 team to do that's different without the stress of worrying about Homestead or Martinsville? Yeah,
I mean, it's different now with this car versus the old car. The old car, right? We always say, ooh, now you can start thinking about ways you can twist and turn it and make it a superior car when you go to Phoenix. But this car is way different than that. So certainly it allows them to take some stress off, but focus really on the areas that they just need to focus on to keep the speed coming in the race cars. I know Cliff and this team and Kyle, they're going to want to go to Homestead and dominate there and try to win there and go to Martinsville and do the same. These are not guys that are just going to sit back. I think they're also going to be great team players. The way that our teams are communicating and working together this year, and just it's been progressing over several years, but it's the best I've ever seen it right now. And that's what it takes, in my opinion, to go win a championship in Phoenix is a total team effort, total organization effort. And now that they're locked in, it'll be interesting to see how they work with one another to try to get William do everything we can to get William in there, and then try to go battle it out among them in Phoenix.
Go next to Jim.
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. Jeff,
Where are you, Jim?
Right here.
Oh, there you are. Sorry.
You look on paper, and Kyle wins both stages, and he leads the most laps, but nothing, it seems, with Kyle comes easy on the track.
He does tend to want to
when you
do
hit
that
the
from
wall
time to
and
time.
nearly
That's-
spin out once or twice. And I was just wondering, is that and his ability to overcome those things, is that just something that you guys grown accustomed to and part of what makes him special?
Yeah, I mean, the guy knows how to win clearly, and I mean, I think Cliff and he have some real heart-to-heart discussions about some of those instances, and on both sides, I would say, from whether it's a strategy call or something, a misstep on pit road, or Kyle and restarts. But it's more about being able to have the trust in one another where you can have those kind of hard conversations because you just want to get better. You just want everybody to get better. And they're able to do that. Actually, Kyle welcomes it. Every time I talk to him, about some of those conversations, he's like, no, I welcome it. I love the intensity, the passion that Cliff and the engineers bring, and how they want to push me at all times. So it's good. So no, I don't think you can change that. You don't want to change that in a guy like Kyle. If it's a new up-and-coming younger driver, and you feel like those are conversations that need to be had, then yeah, you have them. But I've never had to have that one with Kyle.
Okay, we're going to wrap here with Jeff with Cole.
Cole Cusimano with the Arizona Republic. Jeff, first off, congrats on the win. And then just want to fast forward to Phoenix, to the Xfinity side. You have Raja Karuth making the start in the 17 car. I would just love to know what you make of him and his driving abilities and what made him a good fit for the organization.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so cool that it's going to be at Phoenix to have him in the car. That's the first time I ever met Raj and his dad was at Phoenix in the garage, maybe like the ARC or Xfinity garage, and just meeting him for the first time was like, wow, this kid seems very professional and very driven and well spoken. And I was like, I look forward to watching his career, and I've followed it along the way. And you just never know what a driver is getting into as far as equipment. And this time we're going to know, he's going to be in good Hendrick Motorsports equipment. We got to make sure we button up some things so we don't have an issue like we had at the Roval with Boris. But we're looking forward to giving him a good race car and a good race team. And I think I'd just like to see him go put a solid effort in there and just make every lap. I think it's probably going to be the most important thing first.
Well, Jeff, before you get to Phoenix, you have Homestead to take care of next week and Martinsville the week after that. So good luck in the rest of the playoffs, and we'll see you in Phoenix.
Yeah, great start and great round for us. We'll keep it going. Thank you.
Take care now. We are going to continue on with our winners press conference today with the crew chief of the number 5 Hendrick Cars Chevrolet. My goodness, Cliff. I mean, what an amazing run there. I mean, you guys went through a little bit of everything today, from speed to resilience and to an amazing finish. So walk us through the race from your perspective.
Yeah, for sure. Certainly I think I would summarize it as just all-around good team day. Contrary to some of the races that we've had this year, I think today was about the things that actually worked out and went our way versus things that didn't go our way. Certainly after Kyle had the really loose moment off of 2, we did get a little bit of damage from that, and the caution came out right away, which really saved that run for us, and it let us get to work on the car again. And then later in the race, when we pitted from 3rd, our pit crew did an amazing job, got us out with the lead, and then Kyle did a great job at the end of the race. Managing tires, leading in the next-gen car is just really tough. And, even Bell, when he was out front, wasn't amazing, but then Bell, when he was 2nd through 5th, was really good. And so it's just a tough spot to be in. I thought Kyle did a great job managing that. And, all in all, just a really solid all-around team day.
We're going to open the floor for questions. We're going to start up front with Jenna and then go to Tom.
Hey, Cliff, congratulations, Jennifer AP. Jeff was just in here before you, and we think, oh, they win the first race, they're locked in. The first one's locked in. You get this like vacation time to just think about Phoenix. And he said, not so much with the new car. From your perspective, just why is that?
I don't know that it's a lot different just because of the new car, but to me, just from the team exercise, dynamic of things. If we say, hey, we're just going to, cruise for the next 2 weeks, then you're not operating with the edge that I think you're going to need to win it in Phoenix. There's 2 more races to win. And so now that, the way I see it is this, now that we're in the position that we're in, we get to play those races to win. If it's a late call, if it's flipping a stage, if a caution comes out, whatever it may be, versus having to play the race just for points, I think that's the position that it puts us in the next 2 weeks. But from the team exercise, I promise you, all those other guys are so good. They're going to be pushing so hard to try to win the next 2 weeks. I think we have to match that intensity so that we're going into Phoenix with the right level of intensity ourselves and, get there with strength. Yep.
Go to Tom and then to Adam.
Tom Zaleski, Iron County Today. Hi, Cliff. At the end near the end of stage 1, when the yellow came out with 15 to go, Bell went for 2 tires, but you took 4. How did that set you up for the rest of the race, knowing that you had the fresher tires and you still won the stage anyway?
Yeah, I think at that point the call could have gone either way. We put on our qualifying scuffs at that point. I don't think anybody was going to waste an entire set of stickers. So the call was either going to be put on your scuffs with 15 to go, or maybe take rights. And I think you saw the mix of that from the field: guys who took 4 scuffs and guys who took rights. And then, of course, that does save us a set of stickers for later in the race in case you need it. And there was a lot of cautions in the way the weird things played out. So I was glad that we had that set of stickers laying on the ground.
Adam?
Hey, Cliff. Adam Carabine from RacingRefresh.com. How do you compare where your team is at this year compared to where you were at this stage a couple years ago when you won the championship?
I think as a team, we are significantly stronger. Results don't show it at all. And if you look at the results chart, which I have in my office of the 5-team all year, it's just up and down. But the reason that I say that is, of course, we've had 2 more years to gel together, to work together. The chemistry has only gotten stronger. But also because of what we've been through this year, where, what I alluded to with the up and down finishes, let's be honest, some of those up and down finishes we created, both the good and the bad. So it's a really good, team growth exercise to go through some of the tough times and learn how to communicate and lean on each other and find the core strength that you need to come out on the backside of a weekend where maybe we screwed up or didn't get the result that we needed. And there's just been a lot of learning and a lot of growth through that. And so I think, the 2 years under our belt mixed with such a volatile season that we've had to learn how to, play tough and be resilient. I think our team is in a very, very strong position right now.
We're going to go to Zach, then to Kelly, then to Oliver.
Zach Sturniolo, NASCAR.com. Cliff, you talked about that resiliency. The timing of that caution, you mentioned it was critical and kind of saved the race. Why was that so important for you guys to get that break then? Could you guys have continued throughout the course of that run without that caution and still been okay?
I would say probably not. Was it 30 to go in the run still at that point? 25 to go, something like that. So 2 things with the big sideways moment off the corner. Our right rear tire was significantly, heated up and hot, from what that was. Plus we had the little bit of the damage. Both of those kind of doubling down on making our car too loose, which it was already too loose that run. So now that would have been a lot of factors working against us to go the next 25 laps. Even the lap times after things kind of settled back in, we were 2 to 3 tenths off the pace from what everybody was running in the top 10. So had that run carried out, we may have finished that run 14th or 15th. I really don't know. And then that really sets you up for an uphill battle for the rest of the day. So the timing of the caution probably saved our day in our reality.
Kelly?
Kelly, ChronoRacer.com. Cliff, you came over the radio, I believe it was, after the checkered and said a lot of blessings came this team's way this weekend, and I'm just curious what you meant by that.
Yeah, I think, my faith in Jesus Christ as a person this year has had to grow a lot just because of what we've been through, and I've had to learn how to be humble and be smart and lean on the faith to get through a lot of different situations. And I fully acknowledge that while we have complained some weekends that they haven't gone the 5 teams' way, yesterday in practice we made it either 14 or 15 laps, and a chunk came out of our right rear tire as the tire was separating, but it never lost air and we didn't crash. So that is just that is an instant away from us going to a backup car like the 9 car unfortunately had to. So it starts with yesterday of that tire not completely failing. And then today, like I just mentioned, a few moments ago, the caution kind of saved our day after we had the big moment off of 2. And the adjustments that we made in the car kind of helped the car throughout the day. Restarts worked out for us. And then the money stop where we came down pit road 3rd and came out with a lead. Like all of those things, in my mind, were a lot of blessings that worked out for us and went our way. We're not saying that things don't happen for a reason in the past, but we've certainly had some difficult days where we've walked away pretty sad and dejected. But the big man upstairs was certainly looking out for us this weekend.
Hi.
We did, yep. Really sideways off 2, and if you watch I think there's a camera on the back straightaway that shows us off of 2. The wall kind of saved us to keep from completing the spin, and that knocks the tail over just a little bit and frees the car up. Yeah.
Hi, I'm from Germany, Oliver my name. Yeah. In Germany is NASCAR not so famous like in the United States. Can you tell me from you what makes NASCAR so special and what are the most important skills for such as for a NASCAR driver like you?
NASCAR driver like Larson. So I think what makes Cup racing so special in the context of global motorsports, I follow F1 a lot. I follow the IndyCar series a lot. Those series are very tight. I would argue that IndyCar is probably a little bit tighter than F1 as far as the strength of the grid goes. But in Cup racing, there are legitimately 20 to 22 teams any given week that can win. That is very powerful. And a lot of that is the parity of the next-gen car, and a lot of that is you just have a very collective, high IQ group of people here that are all operating at a very high level, pit crews and drivers and teams, and there's just so much, commonality and so much parity in the way the top 20 to 22 teams are. I would fully acknowledge that if restarts would have gone differently at some point of the day, a guy who ran, in the backside of the top 10 or somewhere between the top 5 and the top 10, like I think of the 8 car. The 8 car had a great day today. If things would have happened differently on pit road and the 8 car comes out with the lead, the 8 car probably wins. That's just how competitive our sport is. And so to me, to have international appeal, it's got to rest on how tough it is to execute a Cup race nowadays. And how tough the competition is. You are one fraction of an inch, one little moment away from either winning or not winning, which is a very razor thin margin that may not exist, around the rest of the world.
We're going to go to Cole, then to Justin, and we'll wrap with Mitchell, and then Bob.
Cole Cusimano with the Arizona Republic. Cliff, congratulations. You alluded to the money stop, and I'm just curious. The 5 teams always lights out on pit road, but it seems like in those crucial money stop moments, they're always able to overcome. What is it about that moment that the team's able to just rally and execute on a consistent basis?
There's a lot of experience on the team, which I think is very valuable. Guys who have been in the moment, been in that situation before. And plus the talent. I mean, the talent is easy to speak to. There's a lot of really good, talented, fast teams on pit road. But the experience that our guys have, and how hard we push ourselves. We set our standard very high. We set our expectations very high. So if we don't have a race that's great on pit road, we go back, we talk about it, we beat each other up a bit, try to learn what we need to do to improve. And so, for a caliber of a group like that, where their experience speaks for itself, their accomplishments speaks for themselves. They do a great job of continuing to be hungry for more, continuing to learn, continuing to get better. Nobody rests on the wins of the past or the experience of the past. Those guys are always striving to get better. So what makes it a great combination on the money stop is when you mix together, that endeavor to continue to improve, plus the experience they have. They know how to have, ice water in their veins and just get it done.
Justin?
Justin Schuler kicking the tires. Cliff, I was asking Jeff earlier about all the tire issues from Saturday and then even more today. You were talking about Kyle's resilience personally on the track, but what about the team and having to face those troubles on Saturday and then having that in the back of your mind when you're seeing other cars having tire issues throughout the day today, and then especially in that final stage having longer runs? Did that ever cross your mind, or what's going through your mind when you see that, and especially Bell closing on those final laps and having that maybe in the back of your head?
I would say everything you just described was playing into my head, throughout the whole race. And the tire, issues on Saturday were a little bit of a surprise, I think, to the field based on where, everybody was on tire settings in the spring. Pace was certainly fast yesterday. Pace was fast today. With the track temp being a little bit cooler, ambient air temp being a little bit cooler, especially yesterday. So that was something that overnight we knew we had to go a different direction on where we were on air pressure and be a lot more conservative. And with that brings a little bit of unknown on getting your car balance right. And I'm just going to be honest, we missed it at the start of the day. I know Kyle got out to the lead, but we were obviously way too loose, the first run of the race. We got past and had to do a lot of work on our car throughout the day that was partly because of, the direction that we had to go as a response, to the tire issues from yesterday. That put us in the mindset of trying to play conservative, but then also, to your point, having to rely on the guys over the wall to make a lot of changes to the car and get the car dialed in for what our conditions and our air pressure platform was today.
Mitchell?
Cliff, Mitchell Brewer, Black Hat Sports. Earlier this season, right over here, you guys probably should have won the Vegas race had it not been for a late caution. What's it mean to come back here, have another dominant day, and then actually finish the job?
Very, very special and quite a relief. To be honest, though, there's a lot of the intermediate Cup races this year that have come down to a late caution. So we were, our gears were spinning, on top of the pit box and behind pit wall, trying to make sure we had our air pressure adjustments right, and we knew what our pit call was going to be, if a late caution came out. And fortunately it didn't. But I like to think that we were probably more prepared had it come out than what we've been earlier in the season.
Go to Bob, and then we'll wrap with Dustin.
Bob Parker's Fox Sports. I have a couple. The first, how many drivers spin like that or have spin like that, kiss the wall, and are able to still keep control of the car and win a race?
Probably not many. Huge credit to him. I got interviewed earlier, and they said, "Hey, 1 to 10, how would you rate that Larson safe?" So I'm like, man, everybody wants to give it a 10. I'll give it a 9.4, and they're like, 9.4. Well, we hit the wall. I mean, if he wants a 10, don't hit the wall. But it was a ridiculous safe. Yeah.
And we always hear people say, "Hey, you gotta celebrate every win because you never know if it's gonna be your last." But so I'm curious, is there any celebration on your part, or are you like, "I'm not celebrating till Phoenix"?
I think as a team, we all have been looking forward so much to a moment like this when our day does go well and things do go right, that I would say when I go see the team after this, we'll probably celebrate, have a drink, take a few minutes and just reminisce on the day, and then when we wake up tomorrow morning, we're going to be ready to go for Homestead.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Cliff, the caution shortly after the end of the first stage where the 19 stayed out. I know you guys took 4, some others took 2. Can you just take me through your thinking, your mindset? Was there ever consideration to stay out? Was there ever consideration to do anything other than 4? And were you surprised to see the 19 stay out?
If I'm saying this right, which I think I'm describing it right, a lot of guys up front at that point were on rights with a lot of laps on their lefts. I believe us and a handful of other guys were on our qualifying scuffs. So in our position, we were committed no matter what, because it was our qualifying scuffs, that we were pitting and going to take 4 no matter what. Guys that had committed to rights, of course, with a lot of laps on their lefts, they would be committed to 4. Where the 19, the 11, another car that you mentioned, I think those guys, because they had taken 4 stickers, we had 4 scuffs, other guys had 2 stickers. Because they had taken 4 stickers, I think that put them in a little bit more of a versatile position to either stay or put on 2 right side tires. And obviously the 11 made it work. You know, the 11 had the lead and wasn't fast enough to go get away, but was fast enough to defend on rights. So obviously that was a great call and it worked out for him.
Maybe it doesn't mean as much because when the 19 staying out, nobody else did. He's behind got 2 and 4 tires. So I guess the assumption is they're just going to get eaten up. But when you see one car, a lead type car, stay out, does that raise an eyebrow, or you're so focused on what you've got to do and you're like, okay, we'll just go get them?
I think had our day been a little bit calmer and I wasn't so focused on trying to adjust on our car, I can't remember if we had hit the wall by that point, forgive me. We had a lot of things that we were trying to work through with our day. Certainly my expectation for the restart when I saw the 19 out front is that he was going to go lead for a bit, and you know, knowing how tough and how good Denny is in those type situations, even being on rights, I expected those 2 cars are going to be really tough at the front of the field. You know, the 11 made it work. Again, he had fresh rights, and I guess the 19, I guess that just shows us that, you know, with 9 or 10 or however many laps it was on their tires, that just wasn't the grip that he needed. Yeah.
Well, Cliff, congratulations again. Good luck next week in Homestead, and we'll see you at NASCAR Championship Weekend for the NASCAR Cup
Sounds
Series
great. Thank you,
Championship
guys.
race. And now we are joined by our race-winning driver, Kyle Larson, with the number 5 Hendrick Chevrolet. And I tell you what, Kyle, you punched your ticket to the Championship 4 in Phoenix with what an incredible run out there. Walk us through the race from your perspective.
Yeah, no, it was a really good race for us and our team. You were able to get to the lead early and was kind of struggling with my balance out in the lead early in the race. I was really loose, and they had to make some big adjustments and got our balance to a better spot, and still wasn't quite perfect, and had some cautions work out in the first stage to get the first stage win. Then the second stage, you know, I got really loose and about crashed off of 2, and then the caution came out shortly after that. Kind of got to re-rack them and put new tires on and go win that stage. So just a lot of cautions fell at the right time throughout the race. Same thing in the third stage. And then, you know, the pit crew did a great job on that final stop to get us control of the race and kind of stretch out enough to where, you know, I knew they were going to be coming at the end, and just was going to hope that I had enough time to hold on, which thankfully we did.
Okay, we'll open the floor for questions. We're going to start with Zach and then go to Jeff.
Zach Sterniolo, NASCAR.com. Kyle, congratulations on this. That finish with Bell right on your tail and closing the gap, were you confident through 3 and 4 that you were going to be able to hold him off? What was going through your mind there?
No, I wasn't confident. When the 43 let us go, which I was very thankful for, and then I was like, the whole way down the back, I'm like, come on. Like, I was hoping the 38 was going to run the middle or top, and because I wanted that clean air for the bottom. And when he pulled down the bottom, I knew I couldn't follow him because it was just going to choke me down too much. And I didn't really know what to do at that point. So I thought my best bet or an opportunity for me to at least hold on the lead off of 4 was to go to the middle and hope that it had enough grip. I hadn't been there that whole run. And so, yeah, I peeled to the middle and was really loose and knew that Christopher was going to be able to get a run. And thankfully, he wasn't able to get to my outside before he got to the exit. And then kind of looked at my mirror and just had to zig and zag a little bit. And he hit me square in the back bumper and, you know, kind of closed off the win for me. So, yeah, got much closer than I wanted it to, but thankfully we were able to edge out a win. And thankfully, you know, Christopher ran us really clean there off of 4.
Second question, you gave him that thumbs up coming back to victory lane, passing him on pit road. What's the respect level between the two of you, and especially how things played out at the end?
Yeah, I mean, that was you know, just me kind of showing respect and saying thanks in a way for you having us race it out. Obviously, you know, I'm happy because I won, but you know, he's always been a really fair, clean racer. You know, we've had numbers and numbers of battles in stock cars, but mostly, you know, in dirt track, and I'm typically the one that is the aggressor or the aggressive one in our battles, and probably push the limit of being dirty sometimes. So, you know, for him to continue to race me clean, you know, I definitely have a ton of respect for him. You know, always have. You know, he's, in my opinion, one of the best race car drivers in the world and could do everything that I get to do outside of NASCAR if his team would let him. So, it's just fun to get to battle with a guy like that. I knew his car was going to be good the whole race. I got to lead right off the bat, and then he was better than me there the first run. So I knew he was going to be the guy to beat probably all race. So, yeah, just a lot of fun, and glad we were able to come out the winner.
We're going to go to Jeff, then to Jero, then to Jonathan, then to Jerry.
My question is in a similar vein to Zach's, in terms of like the shared background that you guys have and all the Chili Bowl battles and various midget battles and stuff like that. Like, is there any special significance to take that and duel here on like a bigger, high-profile spotlight?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how fans view it, but I really enjoy getting to, race a guy in the Cup Series that, when we were starting out racing with each other, we weren't either of us in the Cup Series. So, I think, his story and all of that with me being with Toyota and then not, moving forward with them and then them kind of pushing him along, after they felt like they lost an opportunity on me, was I feel like I take pride a little bit in that he is in the Cup Series, maybe partly because of me. But then too, I mean, he kicked my ass for a few years straight, like every race. I don't know if I ever beat him. So yeah, I had to work. He made me work really hard to get better as a driver, especially on the dirt track stuff. So, and then yeah, we've had our run-ins along the way, just tight racing for wins and stuff. And then now I feel like we actually get along and we talk quite a bit and then get to race with a lot of respect on Sundays on TV in front of millions of race fans. So yeah, it's cool and just neat to get to race with a guy like that, and I'm sure he'll be one of the guys to beat at Phoenix too when he's in the Final Four.
Kyle back here. Herrera, UNLV Road Report. Can you just walk me through your week, right? You won the Sprint Car Championship. I mean, did the Indy 500 rookie orientation. Now you lock yourself into the championship for. What's this week like been emotionally for you?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been a memorable week. A little bit maybe crazier than normal, but my weeks stay pretty crazy, so it felt pretty normal in a way. Was awesome, obviously, to close out the High Limit Championship on Tuesday at Lincoln Park. And then, from there, get focused on driving the IndyCar for the first time. That all went really smooth and was an awesome experience, getting to do something I've dreamt of for a long time, and that's just make laps in an IndyCar at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So, yeah, the ROP went great, and then came here to Vegas knowing that we were going to have a car capable of winning, and was able to get the job done without, or with a lot of luck along the way. So just a cool week and one that I'll definitely never forget.
Go next to Jonathan.
Jonathan Field, the racing experts, ESPN Radio Albuquerque. Just want to know what was going through your mind when you were sliding out for turn 2.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was getting really loose at that point. And it's so bumpy in 1 and 2 that, when you are loose, it makes it even worse going across those bumps. And I got a little out of shape, had a moment, and thought I had it saved. But usually when you do that, it just aggravates things, and it stepped out really quick. And honestly, it was, thinking I was just going to spin and then hit the inside wall. And about that time, I clipped the outside wall and got lucky. And then was just thinking that I was going to do it again because now my right rear tire was scorched. I was so loose, for the next however many laps before the caution came out. But thankfully that caution came out. Kind of got to take a deep breath and really just forget about that. Try to forget about that moment as quick as possible and get refocused on the race ahead.
As a follow-up, how do you think the racing on intermediates has evolved with the Gen 7 car over the last year?
So, yeah, I mean, I think the intermediate stuff, and I don't know how it looked on TV, but from my vantage point, I thought this was a great race. It was, the leader never, as big as a lead that the leader got to was as much as I did that last run, and then they were able to still catch me at the end, and we have a photo finish basically. So whatever it is about the next-gen car, and I'm sure it was just an accident when they built it, but I mean, I don't mean that negatively, but I don't think anybody can draw a car up to where you're almost at a disadvantage while leading. But with the next gen car, the leader just, I don't know what it is, but like you have so much more load, with the clean air on your car that, you wear out the right rear tire so much faster. So that's why, the leader always gets loose. That's why, Bell was really loose in front of us the run before the last one. There was like 5, 6, or 7 of us all close to him. Every run, the leader, he has the most of a balance shift throughout the run. So, yeah, it just makes the racing really tight because the leader has his hands full after 15, 20 laps and can't really get away. So that's what I was fighting with at the end. And it's just, it's cool because, on TV, it keeps us all really close and the finishes seem to be really exciting because of it.
We're going to go to Jerry, then to Kelly, then to Tino, then to Joe.
Jerry Jordan, kicking the tires.net. You actually, in 14 laps, the final 14, you went from like 1.5 seconds ahead to 0.08 at the line. So you needed to know those numbers or anything, but that was how much he was gaining on you. Yesterday, you came in here and you said you like this track, you like this round. Now you're locked into the championship. What's your plan? What's your goal? And do you just trophy hunt for the rest of the?
It's obviously it's nice to win and lock in and you can focus on Phoenix, but at the same point you can't really look too far ahead of yourself. There's still 2 other races before then that I put a lot of pressure on myself going to Homestead. I want to have a great run there, and I want to dominate, honestly. I want to win both stages by 15 seconds and win the race by 30. So that's my goal. So I'm not thinking really ahead of Homestead yet. And then, Martinsville as well. I want to go there and have another good run like we had earlier this year and go into Phoenix with a lot of confidence and momentum. So, if tomorrow I started worrying about Phoenix and then had 2 bad runs at Homestead and Martinsville, I think, that would kill our momentum and confidence for Martinsville, for Phoenix. So just put a lot of pressure on myself and our team to not get complacent and treat every race like it means something.
Kelly, CrandallRacer.com. Kyle, that kind of blows where I was going to go with this question because you have these 2 weeks and you've spoken about how it helps just mentally to have these 2 weeks to not have to worry. So let me shift it this way then. In 2021, when you went into the championship 4, you had never been there before. You didn't know what to expect. It was all new for the first time. So even as you focus on Homestead and Martinsville, though, how will this feel different having that experience, knowing what's ahead for Phoenix when you get past these 2 weeks and not having to go in eyes wide open?
I don't know. It's tough. It's tough saying. I don't really know if anything about when I was in the Final Four at Phoenix last time surprised me, because although I hadn't been in the Final Four before, you're still part of the race. So it's still another race. So I think on that aspect, it didn't change anything then. Maybe I guess just seeing how the media week's going to be different this year versus then, because we were still kind of COVID maybe a little bit then. But I don't know. I think more than anything, I'm glad that I won, obviously, and locked in. But I like that now I can go to Homestead, Martinsville, and just race. Like, you're not really focused on points. Like, you can be a little more aggressive now. You're trying to, just win. Really, is the goal. And at the same point, you don't want to piss anybody off. Before we get to Phoenix. So that's also a goal, is to, race everybody fairly and not, be a part of the story, really, the next couple weeks, other than winning would be great. But I don't know, just try not to get too far ahead of ourselves, really.
Tino.
Hey, Kyle, congrats on the win. We talked yesterday about how you felt William Byron had the advantage in being the championship favorite. Does winning this race now give you the edge?
I don't know. Williams still had a really good day, and car speed wise was probably off of what they're used to having here. It seems like this year, but again, he took what he had and made the most of it today. So I haven't seen the points, but I still don't take my eyes off of William at all. Him and his team they've done the best job overall from start of the weekend to the end of the weekends, every weekend. Whether they win or not, they're they seem to maximize their days. So, yeah, but, you know, there's a lot of tough competitors too. I think Ryan Blaney, honestly, he surprised me today. You know, I felt like this wasn't going to be a great round for him, but or at least start of a round, and I thought he did a great job today. And every one of the teams in the round of 8, I think we're up there kind of battling. So, yeah, it'll be interesting as we now go into these next 2, and you know, thankfully we've got the win and don't have to worry about points.
Go to Joe, then to Adam, then Nicole, and we'll wrap with Zach.
Joseph Igo, Racing Experts. Kyle, Phoenix in the spring obviously was a great race for you. You guys led the most laps. The 4 ends up catching you, and then a couple wild restarts at the end ultimately spoiled it. What stands out when you look back at that day, and what can you take from that day into the championship race?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, what I take from it was just a missed opportunity to win on my part. You know, the team did everything on their end to get us in position to win. And again, you know, William just executed a better restart than me and was able to get that win. So there's, you know, it sucks to not win, but there's so much to be learned from that, that final restart and just really the way the whole race played out. So, yeah, I mean, I'll study that a lot in case I'm in that position again and try to do a better job going forward. But, yes, Phoenix was a great track for us. Short tracks really in general have been our strong suit, you know, this year. So would love to go to Phoenix and have a great car again. But as you saw today, you know, versus the spring, William and I were way better than the field in the spring here, and look at the field. Like, everybody got a lot better coming back. So it's going to be the same thing at Phoenix when we get there in a few weeks. Everybody's going to be a lot better than they were, you know, in the spring. So just got to work really hard and study and try to execute a good weekend.
Adam?
Hey, Kyle, Adam Carabine, RacingRefresh.com. I know you won the championship 2 years ago. How does this year feel different as a group? Do you feel you're coming in with less wins, I guess, but how does it feel different?
Honestly, it feels very similar. I mean, I know in the win column it doesn't show that, but you know, sheer speed and stuff, I feel like we've been very similar to we were in 2021. You know, we've probably contended for as many wins as we did then. Just it's just tougher. These next gen races are tougher to win than it was back then is all. So in a lot of ways, like I said, it feels similar, and I've said that all along since the beginning of the year. You know, this feels very similar to 2021. So thankfully we're in position like we were in 2021, and hopefully we can, you know, cap it off like we did then too.
Cole?
Cole Cusimano with the Arizona Republic. Congrats on the win, Kyle. We've seen your team time and time again just be lights out on pit road and specifically on the money stop. I'm curious what that does for you in the race car. Does that like pump you up? Like, what do you get out of that when you have a really fast stop for the money stop?
I love cautions and I love pit stops. I do. I look forward to coming down pit road. I have got a ton of confidence in my guys, and they showed today, you know, why they're one of the best on pit road. Hendrick Motorsports as a whole, really, you know, all 4 teams, even the development teams, all do a great job. So that's a huge thank you to the coaching staff and everybody there in the pit department. So, yeah, they've had to work on it, though, for sure. You know, last year we were not ranked great on pit road, where this year, you know, we've been in the top 2 or 3 all season long. So, yeah, I definitely look forward to coming down pit road right now because I know my guys can get me out in front.
Good deal. Well, Kyle, congratulations on the victory. Good luck next week in Homestead, and we'll see you in the Championship 4.
Yep, thank you.